Hello, everyone. Thinking about being hacked is scary, but it's even scarier not knowing what to do if and in the event we get hacked. Today, we're going to talk about ways that you can protect yourself and your family if this happens. We're also going to be talking about how you can clear your digital footprint and how to just take control over it. But before we get into it, for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Ana Gil, and I am a content creator and also a headshot photographer. So if you need anything for your marketing materials, feel free to contact us. Now, without further ado, let me introduce you to my guest. His name is Lorenzo Gomez, and he is a cyber security specialist. Here we go. Hi, Lorenzo.
Hey Anna, how are you?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and of course, you guys, I have to let you know that Lorenzo and I are long time friends. We used to work together and everything. So it's such
Yes.
an amazing pleasure to actually have you here for real.
After a few intents, finally we are together.
Right, of course. And what better topic to talk about than something that we both are so passionate about, right? Cybersecurity.
Correct. Yes.
All right, Lorenzo. So before we get started, can you please share your background with us?
Okay. My professional background is in computer science. I am in the field for many years. I've been here in Syracuse, New York, for the last 18 years, working in different companies, selling mainly hardware. But the last 6 or 5 years, I am very committed to the cybersecurity stuff. So I'm trying to understand better what is the source of this trouble.
Yes. And this is what we're doing today, Lorenzo. We're going to talk about this because, with the pandemic, uh, phishing attacks have been like those hackers have been just feasting, you
Hmm.
know?
Not only phishing, everything. If you check all the reports about cybersecurity around the world, um, the last year was the increase of all the kinds of attacks in the internet was incredible, right? And you can understand that because we 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 were be forced, to working a different way, to live in a different way. So a lot of people is staying at home, trying to figure out how to connect to the internet better, to have a better connection, to have a better security. Mainly when most of the people don't understand what is a firewall, what is a router, what is the speed of the connection, and things like that.
And going back to what you mentioned, I have some statistics here that said that 38% of end users, up from 8.3% in 2019, without
Hmm.
cybersecurity awareness training will fail phishing tests. It will fail
Sure.
it. It's
Hmm.
insane, and this is why they play. Like they play off of the statistics, and getting us. And you were mentioning something really important. Now that we are working from home, not knowing how to protect ourselves, it's like it's just open. It's just an open door hacking system.
Yes, and the main reason because that is our behavior, right? How we are behaving in the internet is really important to understand because, like you said, that behavior is opening possibilities for cyber criminals to do what they are intending to do. So our behavior is key, and we have to rethink how we are using our internet connection, our smartphones, our tablets, and what kind of information we are um, going to in the different websites that we are visiting, things like that. If we are just thinking that the internet is really open and we can do whatever we can, It's true, but at the same time, we are putting ourselves in a high risk.
I agree. I agree with that. And one of the things is okay, so we're going to serve the internet. There are ways to serve the internet, or I want to say to take precautions in guarding our privacy. There are
Mhm.
ways. Do you want to talk about a couple of them? A couple of ways that when we're browsing, we can be a little bit
Yeah,
private.
it's hard to tell people what website you have to go or not. It's your decision. You are in front of your screen, so you are the one who is clicking the website or the web ad or whatever is the case. You know, what is important to understand at the same time is the cyber criminals. They need only one click to be inside of your smartphone or your tablet or your computer or whatever. So uh, that's in one hand. And the other hand, nothing is free in the internet. Even
Mm-hmm.
when we are not paying for services,
Right.
you know, maybe you are not paying money for that, but you are paying with your personal information, for
Right.
example.
Right. Yeah.
So you have to be, be very cautious where what kind of services, what kind of apps you are using. When you are using a new app, you have to understand that you are giving to that app owner, the right to use your personal data to share with somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, your behavior is important when you are trying to protect yourself in the internet.
Yeah, and on that, you don't know the other, like the end, the security level that developer has. You don't know that, so you're giving that information to them, and how are they handling it? What kind of precautions are they taking to secure your information?
Right.
So it's,
You are losing the possibility to protect yourself when you are opening your word to, you know, whoever is in the other part of the world.
mm-hmm,
So it's your decision. Again, technology is a tool only. You can be protected by a firewall in your house or in your company. You can install software to prevent viruses or things like that. But if you are just clicking once that phishing email, you are out.
right,
You are opening,
right.
the door for these cyber criminals. So
And I can see why this is the most popular one, right? I can see why phishing is the most popular one because, like you said, it's just one click. And with one
mhm,
click, it just spreads so quickly, right? So
right.
that it's like, that's why, for example, taking you speak of behaviors and what we
Hmm.
do when we're online and also when we are off, right? When we receive a text from someone, and especially
Hmm.
our kids send us like, oh, check this video out, check this thing. We trust them, so we're gonna click, you know. But
Exactly.
on those instances, yeah, go ahead, Lorenzo.
Yeah. What I think in with kids, with children, we have to have that conversation with them. Because
Mm-hmm.
at that age they are not thinking or trying to prevent things in a way that people like you and me we are doing it, right? The kids are just trying to watch a video or to play a video game or whatever is the case. But we have to have that conversation with the kids,
Mm-hmm.
to explain that uh, they don't need, to accept everything. You
Mm-hmm.
know, most of the time it's much better if you are using some kind of filters in your
Right.
internet access or even in your smart TV, what they are watching in the internet or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be ahead of the trouble to prevent the kids, taking that click that is putting in high risk for the whole family in this case.
Right. Yeah, for real. It's just like an organization, one
Hmm.
employee. One employee clicks a phishing email and the entire company gets
Hmm.
infected, and then
Exactly.
and then trying to find the source, the person, trying to find where this virus is installed.
Mm-hmm.
it can take a company down, because you have to shut everything down to do it, right? So
Right.
how would that
Right.
be for an individual? If an individual gets, for example, a kid sends a
Mm-hmm.
link to a mom or a sibling, clicks it, how do we deal with that at home?
Because you have a conversation with your family and everybody have a good understanding about what can happen if you are doing that click,
You think, Lorenzo, you think the kids are gonna be like, we ain't clicking this because mom and dad said no.
No, no, what I'm trying to say is most of the time people is not having this conversation with people. It happens even in the companies, right?
Right, yeah.
So we're spending a lot of money in different things. You have a beautiful smartphone, and you spend a good money on it. Maybe your internet connection is a fiber connection, a high speed internet connection in your house, and all the appliances that you have. But you are not preventing others what can happen if you are not doing a proper use of this different source of entertainment or information or whatever is the case. So if you are having that conversation, and as a part of your conversation, you have to tell them, okay, anyone can do that click. If that thing happens, you have to tell others what happened, right? And if we are going for this case, everybody's talking about this pipeline ransomware attack. This morning I was reading that in the beginning of the problem, no one was telling anybody what happened.
So wait, somebody detected it, but they kept it.
They were trying to hide the problem.
Oh
You know,
no. Okay.
it was just in
Oh,
the beginning, but the problem was, bigger and bigger and bigger, and
right.
obviously, it was impossible to hide that problem. It happens in our houses too. I said since we started to have this conversation, it's human behavior. We don't want to tell others that we did that click, and
Right.
we are putting in risk everybody.
Like we're the
But
clicker.
exactly, but we have to tell others what's going on, and
because
then
because it's not like intentional, right? We didn't do it intentionally.
I
But it's
hope so.
hard, just like you said, right?
I hope it's
Well,
not
right.
intentional.
I mean, like that's true because there's also happens that the hacking is internal. But for home, for example, for
and
home,
and
they didn't do it in.
and that's another big problem in cybersecurity. Most of the time, I'm working with companies, right? So I'm using the internal user problem, right? If we are moving this over the home, is the family members inside of the home. Most of the time, we are the source of the problem because we were not, taking the right decision to see if this is something that I have to accept or no, or even when we were clicking the phishing email or whatever, we are not telling others what's going on, and things like that. So the users or the family members, we are the primary source for this kind of trouble.
Yes, unfortunately, it's true. Unfortunately, it's true. So that's why those conversations to have with our children are very
Mm-hmm.
important. That they're very important for emails and now with Google Classroom being one of the main sources of a media of communication between schools and students. That's easy because a hacker can just create an account easily, an email account, and a kid can just click it, thinking that it is a trusted person. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's
Exactly. Yeah, you know, you can, like I say, you can buy whatever you want, software, hardware, different kind of services to protect yourself, to protect your family, to protect your company or whatever. But if the people is not aware about it, right? If we are not thinking that we can be the one who is going to put in risk the rest of the family of the company, um, technology is just there. You
right.
know,
Yeah.
you can see many reports. One of the IBM reports in 2, 3 years ago, for example, it shows that only 5% of the time technology is protecting you. So 95% of the time, we are just receiving bad traffic from the internet.
Right, right.
So how you can deal with that situation? You
Mm-hmm.
have to be aware about it.
Right.
You have to be, ready to react in case you are involved in that kind of situations.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. You can have, because the equipment is just there to make it easier, to make the end user experience easier,
Mm-hmm.
right? Packets in and
Mm-hmm.
out, the communications, the apps open quickly and fast and make, do all these great
Right.
things. But then it is, humans, we're the ones who actually
Mm-hmm.
have to, you know,
Exactly.
so it makes
And the
sense.
second the second step, uh, when you are aware about this kind of situation, when you feel that you can be in risk because all this openness in the internet, I think the second good move is to hire somebody who really knows about how to protect your internet access, your computers, your smartphones,
Mm-hmm.
to pay for that service. I don't think it's a high pricing service.
Mm-hmm.
I know a few companies in the area that they are providing that kind of services. So they want to make sure, because most of the time the problem is starting for is basic and service in the computers. So that it's not, the computers are not updated, for example,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay.
The internet access is, no one is paying attention. If this case of the pipeline company I
Mm-hmm.
was reading today, it was because the BPM hardware was not updated for the last 3 years.
Oh my God.
So the
And
responsible for that piece of hardware, that person was just not paying attention to the software inside. It was expired. He was not doing any updates, no patching, nothing. So the hackers were using that way to be inside of
right. And
the
I'm, I'm
computer
I'm I'm
system.
pretty sure that the hackers have this sophisticated equipment, right? Sophisticated to just find where the what is it? Where the weak link is, right? Where the port
Believe
the
it or not, it's not too sophisticated.
no,
You
what
know,
is it? Tell me.
no, it's a simple software they are using, because they are using, if they knows that the people and the companies are using high technology software and hardware to protect everything, and that's another source of problem. When you are overprotecting something, you are creating weakness. Is the opposite result.
Well, how is that?
Yeah, for example, thinking in your house,
Mm-hmm.
right? You are putting a alarm system, you are putting webcams, you are putting different kind of protection in your house,
Mm-hmm.
but you are not closing well one of your windows, right? Or your
Mm-hmm.
patio door was not protected well, or you are just opening because you need to do something else or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They're just sneaking in your house and getting inside and doing big trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Okay.
if you never get the conversation with your kids and
Mm-hmm.
you were installing all this protection in your house, and your kids don't know anything about it, they are just going to do the click. And when
Right.
they see that big mess, they are not going to tell anybody what's going on.
I see it. I see it. So okay, so let's go to to the pipeline, right? That's what's happening. So it was a VPN. Their VPN wasn't updated for 3 years.
Looks like, is Twitter is fraught about that travel. So
Okay.
looks like that VPN appliance was the initial point of this travel.
Okay. All right. So
Mm-hmm.
then, all right. So those are the so for end users, right? For us individuals, is first education and two update our
Hiring somebody who really knows about it, because you are, a photographer,
mm-hmm.
right? You want to spend your time taking photo shoots and things like that. You know, you don't want to spend your time, updating the firewall in your internet connection.
Right, but
You
I
know,
mean, like,
so
okay, so
it's
it's complicated doing this. It's complicated.
it's not complicated, but it's not what you are supposed to do, right?
Okay, well,
So we are paying different services. Like, for example, I don't know, we need water in the house. It doesn't mean that we have to build, a pipeline from the river coming to my house. That's the water company doing that for us. And I think my advice is to hire somebody who can deal with that kind of things, making sure that everything is fine. And in case you need help, that company or that person can be the one who is fixing the trouble inside. You know.
Understood. Okay, okay. But also, you could right take a class or something, or just you can do it yourself, calling your internet provider, right? Because if you have your router and you have access to your routers, you can create rules for certain things as an end user. Now, as a company, and Lorenzo, you can correct me anytime. As a company, then yes, as a company, you definitely need to hire a professional to let you know how you can protect yourself, your data internally, and
Mm-hmm.
and your customers' data, which is now right. What happened to Pipeline? Now their whole system is compromised. They don't even have access to their own information. Like
Right.
that. Oh
Right.
my
That's a
gosh.
ransomware attack.
Right.
Hmm.
And what happens if they don't pay it? You know what happens if okay, so what
They
happens if they
actually
pay
paid
it?
$5 million in cryptocurrency.
And crypto is not traceable though.
No, but that's the way that the cyber criminals are using. They are not receiving US dollar. They are receiving cryptocurrencies.
Oh
Um,
boy.
and this company looks like, again, is social media information at this point. They paid $5 million in cryptocurrencies to this dark side organization or whatever.
But they were asking for 50 first, or was it just 5?
I don't know how much were they asking for, but we had this conversation yesterday. It doesn't matter if you are paying; they
Right.
can do it again. So
Right, right, exactly. And that's the thing. And we were
right.
also talking in terms of individuals, right? So we were talking about, you guys be careful out there, okay? We were talking about how during the pandemic, a lot of people have resorts to triple X sites, right? And now the cameras are being hacked,
Hmm.
right? To record the person using these services. And then they ask for a
Right.
ransom. And then what happens, Lorenzo?
Well, you are in big trouble for sure, right? Yeah, cyber criminals. I don't know if I'm going to say they have this positive thing, but they are active 24/7. So they are just looking for things that they can use against you. Um, yeah, things like that happens, and they are just sending you, a clip or something that you were doing in the internet. They say, if you are not giving me this amount of money, this is going to be in Facebook and Instagram or whatever. So you lost.
Right, right. So imagine celebrities, right? Celebrities have to have a high level of security, right? On their
Right,
phones,
right.
and on their internet, but they do. They have to have all of this because who will
Hmm.
not love to see a behind the scenes of any celebrity,
Right.
right?
Something that we are not maybe understanding is, in the beginning, internet was just a research network. You know, it was a group of universities here in the U.S. They were sending messages to this infrastructure each other, right? So they know each other, they trust each other. So they were not paying too much attention about the security, how we are going to encrypt this information. It was just sending to my colleague, so I don't have to take extra security in that thing. But now, obviously, internet is not like that. Internet is around the world, so everybody can see what you are doing, and everybody can take the information that they are looking for.
Right.
So we have to be, aware about that situation. We are exposed to this big network.
Right. And I mean there are ways out there that we can, when we are browsing, there's some browsers, for example, a search browser that I use that I really like is DuckDuckGo. Have you heard of it, Lorenzo?
No.
So that is really good. Whenever I want to search something that I don't want to be traced, like Google and stuff like that, I use that one, and it has been pretty good for me.
Right.
But then the thing is that Google makes it so easy with their extensions that it's like, I have to use DuckDuckGo. Okay, so I have to be like choosing what information I want to search on Google and what information I want to search on DuckDuckGo, you know? So it's like,
Convenience,
exactly. And they make it so
right?
convenient for that, right?
And
Exactly.
that's another problem that, like, I'm going to repeat human behavior over and over again because we are paying the price for convenience,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, for example, uh, when we have to decide if we are going to buy food to prepare our own food, or we are just going to the restaurant to buy something else,
Right.
it's pretty easy to go to the restaurant. You don't need to do other than going for the drive-through, asking for whatever you want to eat, you
Right.
know, driving a little bit more, paying the money, and getting the food. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Convenience, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's different when you are going to the grocery store and you are buying all the stuff, and then you are coming back and start to cooking, and then you are eating and cleaning and making the dishes and things like that. You don't want to do that.
Right.
So it's similar in the internet, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you want to make sure use a more secure web browser, right? Instead of using whatever is available, takes time. You have to know to make your research. What is the better browser? What is the more secure browser, and things like that. And like I said, nothing is free, and convenience many times is high pricing stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it is true. That's a very good point you make. So okay, so it's like not scary thing. There are ways to protect ourselves. There are ways, and the ways that we protect ourselves is just saying no to all the apps, or just limiting the information that we're sharing with the apps. Right? It's just like they
Right.
say, okay, get your mic access to your microphone, access to this, access to that. You can say no and use it when you want to use it, and kind of limit it that way. But at the same, you're still sharing information, but you have a little bit more control of the information you're sharing because it
Right.
is your information, you know?
Hmm.
And another thing that I don't know, Lorenzo, if you think the same way, but the two-factor authentication is an extra level of security that works, right? But not a lot of people enable it, not a lot of people use it. I mean,
Yeah, it's another level of security for sure, right? And but it's not magic,
it's
right?
not. Mm-hmm.
Cyber criminals can take that, text message and use that password, temporal password, to access to your bank account or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So
If they have the phone, right? Or if they have the device, or however it is that you get that, because so it's like, okay, you are trying to log into your bank, and then you have a
mhm,
two-factor enabled, you get the authentication, you input it, right?
mhm,
So where will they get this information?
right.
At what point would they get the authentication?
Everything is possible, but think about this: cyber criminals are not targeting you and me necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
They don't
Mm-hmm.
know who Anna Hill is or Lorenzo Gomez is. They are just
Until wait, Lorenzo, until I get all famous and they want to be like, yo, I want to know who Anna Hill is.
right, right, right. Maybe they are more interested in you than in me. So, but the point is, yeah, they are just scanning, right? What is open? They are scanning. They have computers can do that, right? So this is going to be to get an opportunity to talk about who is responsible for what. Many times, security responsibility is not only for the user, it's even for the institutions,
Mm-hmm.
right? If the two-factor authentication is not working in some specific case, and the bank was not filtering that login for the cyber criminal, and they was just taking all my money,
Okay.
who is responsible for what,
Mm-hmm.
right? I was
Mm-hmm.
just trying to, to use my phone to see how much money I have in my savings accounts or whatever. But it's just you are the user.
Mm-hmm.
The bank, they have all the technology, all the resources to protect you because you are the customer, right?
Right. Right.
So we were talking about that we are living in a different world because the pandemic, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we need a new set of rules, legal rules, to protect the users, because
Mm-hmm.
in the world of the internet is not the same. When we were going to the branch, talking to the teller was seeing you and making sure that you are the person who owns that account. Now it's just your phone, two pair of clicks, and you are in your account. So
Right. Right. But okay, so there's that is, okay, the organization does have to protect us, and that's why we have to bank with reputable right, banks and accounts. But this is what happened one time, right? So my son, he was a gamer and all that stuff, and he needed to buy a pack of something, some pack
mhm.
of some, and he's like, "Mom, I need a credit card for this," and I'm like, "I'm not gonna give you my credit card to go into this gaming thing that I don't have no clue about." So he
Mhm.
pressed so much that I was like, okay, I'm gonna give him an account, right? A credit card that is not linked to my banks, right? So it was a credit card.
Right.
So I gave it to him, and sure enough, in about, I don't know, 30 minutes, my bank is calling me. "What's going on? Your credit card is being used in California." And I'm like, "What?" I was like, "What?" I mean, that was within, I'm telling you, about 30 minutes. They
Right.
created a credit card, and they, with my
Right.
number and all of that, and they went to a gas station. They were at a gas station buying
Mhm.
gas. I'm like, it's like
Yeah.
we have to be so careful. And even with,
Yeah.
my God, it's
This is a
insane.
different world. So we are not living under the same rules than a few years ago. We are living in a digital world. In the past, we were expecting phase one, phase two, phase three to happen something in the phase four. Now everything is popping up at the same time.
Right. That is true. That is true.
Mhm.
So, okay, so popping up in this, and let's just kind of close it off with, okay, so we talked about ways to protect ourselves. We talked about, phishing, educating our families. For corporations, we talked about educating your employees, bringing someone in
Mhm.
who can really go in and explain what phishing emails look like, or even phone calls, right? What do they look like? What do they sound like? Do some tests. I know some
Right.
corporations do tests on their employees to
Hmm.
see if they have learned, if they have absorbed the training, right? So that's
Hmm.
that. And then the second thing is just do your, I don't know, because with the equipment, right? Update your equipment, right?
The
Update
basic
your
thing,
equipment.
yeah.
And it is like something that, okay, bye. I'm not gonna update it, or I'll update it later. But 3 years later, you still haven't updated it.
And when your service provider or when your computer or your smartphone is asking you to do the update, it's not because they are ahead of the situation. It's because something bad happened already.
Oh, right, right.
So this is another time how humans are behaving. We are not preventing situations. We are responding to what happened already. You
Mm,
know, we're going back to the pipeline stuff. Now, our government is, sending a set of new rules for cybersecurity in the country to prevent this kind of situation. But hello, that kind of thing happening already.
right, right. Oh my
So
gosh.
every time that you are receiving, this alert, you have to update your iPhone or your Android or whatever, do it right away.
Right. Okay. And that's the thing that we have to think about, right? We have to make sure that all of that is updated. Not only the equipment, not only the software, so there are all these factors, right? The education, the equipment, and the updating, right? All of that
Hmm.
stuff. All of
Hmm.
that has to be all in unison. And we're not even talking about, IoTs or the what is the other one? DoDs? Oh my gosh, like
IoTs,
that,
yeah.
yeah, that's even crazier. I'm like, you know what? All of this, oh, like we need more. Like we need more to worry about. Now, our information, right? Our health information is out there. It's just there,
Hmm.
right? And it's like
Hmm.
anybody can just be like, okay, so now I'm gonna pop this in, and I was just gonna take that, and I'm gonna take that, and then I'm gonna go to them and ransom them. That is insane.
Right, but at the same time, we have to share it anyway. You know, we have to be part of this new reality. So we can be, we can't be, like myself now in my basement with no connection with the rest of the world. At that point, maybe I am sure that I am not going to receive any cyber attack, but we have to be exposed to the world. So the idea is to do it in a more secure way.
Right, right. And you
Hmm.
know what? And that's okay. So let's close it with this. I mean, like we can go on with all of this because this is such an interesting topic to nerds like us, right? But it's like okay, so the machine language, right? And then we have the all of these, the machines are learning this language by themselves, right? And then there are things happening behind the scenes without our interaction that when we get to it, it might be, like for example, from pipeline, right? The machines were doing all their stuff, and then human interaction was needed. So at one point we have to intervene. So that for me is a little bit kind of like, okay, it's a little bit alleviating, but at the same time the machines are learning the language. So if we don't keep up with it, it's gonna be a war just like in the Matrix. I'm telling you, people. I'm telling
Uh,
you.
yeah, we have to relax about it.
No,
Many
I'm not
times
gonna relax
people
about
is,
it, Lorenzo.
yeah, because we can see the future, right? Maybe at one point, the robots and the machines are going to talk each other, and they don't need the humans in any way. Um, all right, I hope when that happens, it's going to be for better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but now today, behind all this artificial intelligence and machine learning and things like that, all that stuff is working with algorithms,
Mm.
and the humans are writing those algorithms.
Yeah,
So,
but even though the humans are writing it, right? The
mhm,
machines are communicating behind the scenes and they're doing their own codes. They are generating their own codes based on the behaviors that we humans are doing.
exactly.
So
In some way,
it's
they are mimicking human behavior.
exactly. So that is
That's the
scary.
idea. That's the idea. Hmm.
Yeah. For what? Okay. Okay.
That,
So
that could be
here
scary, right?
exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like it can be really scary. It can be really scary. But anyway, so Lorenzo, here we are. Okay, we are offering people. Okay, we're gonna calm down, and everything's not gonna be crazy, but we have to take, like Lorenzo said, right? They're not after us, but the big hackers are not. But there are malicious people out there anyway who can hire somebody who knows how to hack and do damage to you. So the less
Mhm.
footprint you have out there, the less things you are sharing out there, the less of a chance it is for this one person to find ways to
Exactly.
get you. So
The,
even
the good
though,
news is we have the control about it.
yes,
So we
exactly.
are the ones who can, prevent these situations, or we are the ones who are going to open the door for cyber criminals. So it's our decision what we want to do.
Yeah. And that sounds easy though. That sounds easy because like you said, like the convenience of different apps and things like this and shopping apps and now my shopping app, it knows what I want to buy every single week, right? It just knows
Hmm.
and it's just like and I'm like, "Oh, this is so cool." But that information is being shared with somebody else who's sending me that I need to buy a new pot because I'm cooking too much rice. You know what I mean? So, it's like it's crazy how it works,
Right.
right? But it's like, so we
Yeah.
have to what point, all right? To what point do we just let convenience go for a little bit, right? To what point do we
Hmm.
say our data is more important than convenience?
Right.
It's, and at what point do we say that? And that is the hard part of this whole thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, so Lorenzo, okay, you guys can find Lorenzo. You guys can find Lorenzo right here. He is in Twitter and he's also on LinkedIn. He is super,
Right.
super active on LinkedIn. You write a lot of IT blogs, don't you?
Yes. I'm
Yes.
trying to share information most of the time with people who is following me and people who I follow them.
Yeah, and your blog posts get your articles, they get shared a lot from LinkedIn. So that's really good. That's really good.
Yeah, some people is taking it's free. I'm not charging anybody for what I'm putting in social media.
Yeah.
Is I think it is important to share with others what you know.
Yeah, and also like we learn more about it because then we get, they ask us questions of things that are happening to them, so it gets us thinking a little bit more. So
Exactly.
that's always good. And of course, you guys, if you would like to be a guest on the show, you can send me an email at officiallyunofficialtv@gmail.com and we will consider, just let us know what you do with the service and if you can make somebody's life easier one episode at a time, because this is what we do right here at Officially Unofficial. So you guys, okay, Lorenzo, any last minute, like any last like suggestions that you can offer?
Um, Again, thanks so much for having me. It was a really good experience to talk about this thing. I hope something here that we were talking is helpful for people. And thanks again, and see you in a next time.
Yes, you're gonna see the next time because the next one we're gonna do is gonna be in Spanish, and so that's gonna be really good because like you guys, so
Eso
Lorenzo,
sería muy bueno.
verdad que sí, Lorenzo is his main right is in Latin America, so it's like you have a lot of customers who will benefit from this information as well once we do it in Spanish. So, eh, muy pronto, mis amigos. Like, stay tuned. So, you guys, thank you so much for being here. My name is Ana Gil from Officially Unofficial, and I will see you next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much, and have an amazing day. Bye.